Hello, my name is Sonia Camila Montoya. My birthday is January 5th, 1976, and I am 39 years old and currently live in Washington. I am the daughter of Maria Cristina Montoya and the granddaughter of Hilario and Maria Elena Montoya. Today I decided to make this video to just sort of introduce myself to the rest of the family and to say hello and hope that this helps you put a name and maybe a voice and a face all together. Plus I thought this would just be easier because trying to post photos and all the information that goes with it can sometimes get complicated and time consuming, and I know for a lot of us we haven't been able to post the photos that we want or the information that we want just because life gets busy and we don't always have time to sit down for 30 or 40 minutes on Facebook and write it all down. So I hope that this helps, and I hope to see more videos from the rest of the family because I'd really love to get to know you, and I'd really love to see your faces and hear your voices and see your children and all of that. I'm really curious to see if any of us look alike or sound alike or have similar, traits, things like that. Me myself, I happen to have really big, or not big, but fat earlobes. My mother has them too. My brother does too, and we got them from this guy right here. So I'm wondering what other traits we all have. Plus we all got the, all my aunts I noticed have like the China sort of almond eyes, and that was sort of passed down to us too, to the kids, to the grandkids. I grew up in East LA, at the bottom of the hill from where my grandparents lived. I don't know if any of you remember the house in East LA that was by Cal State LA. Well, we lived right at the bottom of that hill, and I got to see my grandparents all the time. As a child, after my mom had me, that's me and my mom right there. And yes, my mother has a fro. She really does. Look, take a close look at that. My mother has a fro. I guess maybe that's why she never said anything to me when I started dyeing my hair in all kinds of crazy colors, because at one point she had a fro. There it is in all its glory. That's me and her. But we lived, like I said, at the bottom of the hill from my grandparents, and for me that meant that I got to spend a lot of my childhood. That's me when I was littler. This may have been the last time some of you saw me, or maybe some of you will recognize these photos. Well, that's me. So I got to spend a lot of my childhood with my grandparents. We did everything together. And I do mean everything. We traveled together. We did things like, Knott's Berry Farm and visiting family in Mexico. My grandmother making clothes for me, listening to Dodger games on the front porch, on the radio with Grandpa while he played solitaire, which to this day I still do. While he had a cold Budweiser and usually some watermelon with like lemon and salt, or we would eat tomatoes, like raw tomatoes with just a little bit of salt, and definitely cucumbers. Cucumbers were big. We would eat those all the time. And tortillas with avocado in them, with aguacate in them. Oh, yes, still one of my favorite things. So like I said, I grew up with them. I know only what I saw with them. I don't really know my grandmother's history as far as family and things like that. And I don't know much about my grandpa's history either. So I'm pretty curious to find out what memories you guys have of him and things you all did with him. I'm especially curious to find out about his military career, because I don't know very much about it. I don't know when he joined up, how old he was. I don't know where he joined up or when he got out. So if any of you know any of that, I'd love it if you shared that with me. Um, my mom is a lot like my grandma, and I assume a lot like my grandpa. Um, it just, like things that she does or says, or the way she cooks, or the way she, her sense of humor, her quick wit, all of those things. And luckily for me, I inherited some of those traits. And from what I remember, of Grandpa, he was sometimes outspoken and could be sarcastic and very funny. He liked to drink and have a good time. I am very much a Montoya in the sense that I do enjoy a drink here or there. I don't drink like he drank, but with family or friends or something, a drink once in a while is okay with me. I can be sarcastic. I like to laugh. I I enjoy life. I thoroughly enjoy life. I think that we only get one trip on this ride, and I say ride it for all it's worth. That's just my personal philosophy. I have 3 children: Serenity, Destiny, and Alexander. My oldest is in college. She attends Emily Carr. It's a well-known university, an art university in Canada. My daughter Destiny lives in Arizona, and my son Alex lives in California. We have moved quite a bit let me see, I have lived in California, I have lived in Texas, I have lived in Minnesota, I have lived in White Rock, British Columbia, Canada, and currently we live in Washington. Not Washington, D.C., just Washington, like right above California. And I'm anxious to see where our adventures take us next. I am married. I will get into all of that later and share my photos of my children and things of that nature in another video. Today, I just wanted to share with you sort of my origins and my memories with my grandpa, since that's the whole reason this page was started, so that the Montoyas could get to know each other and we could sort of reconnect. And for those of us who have never met, I'm pretty excited to meet all of you and to see, just where we've all gone and what we've all done in life. I've been a mother and a makeup artist, which is what I love and enjoy more than anything in the world. I was fortunate enough to have my grandfather long enough to really save and make a lot of really great memories. I have memories of him and I at the Marqueta in LA. I have memories of him and I at Knott's Berry Farm. I have a ton of memories being at Tia Pancha's house, because he used to go there a lot. She would cook and he would go over there and he would take me with him. And usually they would get drunk and fight and then we would leave. But they would make up like within the day or 2 days, because then she'd cook again or something, and by the next weekend or something we'd be right back over there. So I guess that was just the nature of their relationship. And from what I know, from stories that my mother has told me, that's what it was like when she was younger too. They would hang out, all the kids would be together, and then they would get tipsy and fight. And they would watch them fight, and I don't know. And then a day or two later, they'd be right back, like nothing ever happened. So I guess that's just the way it went. We lived in East LA by Cal State LA, what I call the house on the hill. Like I said, we lived at the bottom of the hill, but I spent so much time at Grandma and Grandpa's house that to me that was home. And to me, the most important part of living that close to them was that I literally just didn't go a day without them. I mean, Grandpa for me was well, everything. Um, every single day, I'd see him whether he stopped by to drop off, like, uh, usually it was Chico Sticks and Abba Zabbas. And then, depending on where he went that day in LA, he might come back with carrot cake cupcakes, which is the weirdest thing because as I got older, I dislike carrot cake. Like, I just don't like it. But if it comes in a cupcake form, I'm all over it. I I am all over it. And I'm not a taffy person at all, and I don't like peanut butter too much. Um, but if you give me an abba it's like the most delicious. It's like the most delicious thing ever, and I know that that's because of him and because of him always bringing me those things when I was younger. Um, I have memories of us sitting on the porch. They had this wrought iron table with a glass top, and he had this little radio, and he would listen to the Dodgers playing, or well, just baseball in general, I guess, and playing solitaire. And I I play solitaire. I taught my kids how to play solitaire, and it's something I just do now. Um, Listen to the radio, and I'll play solitaire. And I don't know. I guess from watching him do it, and usually there would be breakfast in the morning. He always made me sausage, like sausage links and eggs, but I would never eat the eggs. I would always just eat the sausage, and Grandma would get mad because she would say, like, oh, you need to eat all your food, you need to eat everything. And then he would argue with her, ay, déjala, like, just leave her alone. She can eat the sausage if she wants to. And usually I would sneak like one or two sausage links on the way out the door. I would go out the back door. They had a back door, and I would sneak out the back door and go to school. So I would always take like an extra sausage link or two with me. So he always made sure to make, enough. And then when I'd get home from school, usually he would warm me up a tortilla and slice some avocado, put it in there with a little bit of salt, and that was my after school snack. And that's just some of the stuff I remember about him. There are some crazy memories I have of Grandpa. If any of you remember that house that was on the hill, it had like a rolling front lawn. Like it went down at an angle, and so Grandma always had rose bushes up at the top by the porch, and then it rolled down, and then there was a garage there. And so, he'd have a drink or two, stumble and fall. Such was life at that time. But he never stopped drinking. Unfortunately, it's the reason he ultimately passed. So for me, I am not a beer drinker at all. At all. I don't like the smell of it. I just don't. It stuck with me, I guess. And so, yeah, I just don't. But I also have really fantastic memories with him. My favorite being playing in the backyard. He had like a tool shed back there, or yeah, I guess it was a tool shed. It was a shed he had built, and there was all kinds of stuff in there. I mean, my cousins, Chopper and Cindy, those are my Tia Carmen's kids. We used to go in there and get ourselves locked in there because it would like lock from the outside. If the door shut all the way on you, it would lock. And so we would go in there. I don't know why. I don't know why we would go in there. We knew we were going to most likely get locked in there, but we'd go in there and get locked in there. And it had like a little window that raised up. And so we would have to like raise it up and scream out for someone. And usually it would be Grandma, and then Grandma would get mad at us because we were in there playing, and then she'd yell at Grandpa because he should have kept the door shut in the first place, so we wouldn't get trapped in there. So I have those memories as well. But my hands down favorite memory that never fades, like I can see it crisp and clear in my mind, is again in the backyard next to that shed. there was clotheslines, because Grandma used to do her laundry and then, hang everything dry. Well, on the clothesline, well, the metal pole that were at each end, the one closest to the shed, he had hung a swing on. And so it was just rope and a wood plank, and that was a swing. And we were in the backyard. We had been, I don't know, we had just been home all day hanging out, and Grandma was in the house. And she had done laundry, and she hung sheets out to dry. And I remember she had these like white sheets with some kind of flowers or something hanging there. And there was a bag with a hole in it that used to hang there and had all the clothespins in it. And that was all hanging out there. And me and Grandpa were playing back there. And yes, we were playing. He would actually play with me, which is one of the great things about him. And I was on the swing, and I was standing on the swing, holding on. And I was doing things like holding on really tight to the rope and lifting my legs up so that, I was like swinging above the wood plank and jumping off the swing and like twirling and running through the sheets and stuff. And he was like, we were playing circus basically. And so he was the announcer, and he would say, like, oh, watch her swing higher and higher. And so I would swing higher and higher, and he'd say, now watch her run through, like watch her run through the sheets and disappear and reappear. And so I was doing all of that. And I was like twirling and running around. And we knew if Grandma came out and caught us, we were going to get in trouble because we were playing in her clean sheets. But he had like a beer or two, so he really didn't care. And I was having fun, so I didn't care. And so we were doing all of that. And I ran back towards the swing where he was, and he picked me up. And he told me that, or in his announcer voice, he said, he had, everything was in Spanish. With Grandpa, I only spoke Spanish. Well, I spoke English. He spoke Spanish. He said, look at our star, in Spanish. And and that to me is like a perfect memory, because I remember it vividly. I remember the sheets, and I remember the clothespins because I kept hitting it when I was running underneath it. And I remember he was wearing a white t-shirt, a black belt, some khaki pants, and his hair was slicked back, and it was sort of falling forward right here in the front. And he smelled like Budweiser and aftershave. And no matter how old I get, I never forget that day, because we played out there from the afternoon till the sun went down. And he never got tired of me. And he never said, okay, enough's enough, let's go inside. Instead, he played with me. He swung on the swing. He did some tricks himself. They weren't flips or cartwheels or anything, but he sort of like went through the sheets with me, and he was just being him, who he was when he was with me. And who he was when he was with me was a really loving and gentle and patient man. He was my grandfather, and also my godfather, and my father. He was just everything. He was very special to me. And when I would misbehave, he would tell me I was losing my canicas. but he'd never stop loving me and never stop taking care of me or thinking about me. And that memory that I have of him is what I see more often than not. I think of him a lot. I talk to him a lot, and my grandmother too. And I remember the times, the good and the bad. I remember him being drunk or falling down, but I also remember him laughing about it. I remember all my tias and their husbands like helping him up and stuff. But even with all those memories, in my mind, in my heart, in my memories, he is always that man standing in that backyard with his 6-year-old, maybe 5-year-old granddaughter playing circus and calling her a star and telling her that she is his favorite and that no matter what anybody says, I was his daughter and that he loved me. He was everything to me. He made me laugh, made me happy. He wiped my tears away, and he never missed an opportunity to tell me that he loved me and that I was beautiful and that I was a Montoya. So I am very proud, very, very proud to be a Montoya. In fact, when I got married, I kept my name because I am proud of it. And I didn't want to lose any part of him. Not that a name change, could take away any memory or any trait that I may have that is very Montoya-ish. But I just wanted to hold on to it. And I carry it with great pride. And I hope someday that I get to meet all of you and you get to tell me your stories about why you are proud to be a Montoya and stories that you have of your Tío Lalo, because I would love to hear them all. I would love to hear all about him, as I happen to think he is pretty spectacular. And I'm sure that all of you have a ton of memories and know things that I could never know unless, I heard them from you. And I truly, truly hope that you take the time to share and take the time to get to know each and every one of us. So thank you. And I'm sorry that this video went on for as long as it did. But I knew that if I didn't make the video, the writing would have gone on forever. So thank you for taking some time to get to know me, at least a little bit about me. And I hope to meet each and every one of you some point. Maybe we could do a family reunion, something like that. That would be amazing. And maybe we could swap stories and photos. I have so many pictures of them and their life together, and I would love to make each and every one of you copies if you'd like to swap photos. I will also post my address in the comment section below, that way I can send you all Christmas cards. If you like my address and you'd like to send me a Christmas card or something, I'd love to send you one. I love sending out Christmas cards, and I think that it would be really, really awesome if we try to do that for each other this year. Try to send each other a little Christmas card or a little something. Just, you know, get the conversation started and, see where it goes from there. So, again, thank you guys for taking the time to watch this, and I appreciate it. And again, my name is Sonia, and I hope to get to know you. So, have a great night. And remember, the reason we're all doing this is because of this guy and his sisters and his parents. So, proud to be a Montoya, and I hope you are too.